Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Slow Motion Broadcasting and welcome to the Sim Racers Group Intermediate F4 League. Nestled in the rolling hills of northwestern Connecticut, Lime Rock Park is one of America's most distinctive road racing venues. Short, fast, incredibly technical, this legendary circuit leaves absolutely no room for wasted time or wasted movement. And because Lime Rock is so compact, the racing can be incredibly close. Drivers are constantly looking for opportunities, knowing that one mistake can cost several positions, while one perfectly timed move can change the entire race. But all of that pales in comparison to one key feature. The corner names are hilariously vague. I am joined by producer Josh Wilkie in the truck and the legend Racing Ron Maunz. Ron, what's your favorite corner at Lime Rock? Is it the left-hander or the right-hander?
See, it's actually shortly thereafter with the Paul Newman straightaway. I really like Paul Newman, the guy from the brand of salad dressing. That Paul Newman.
That Paul Newman, and it's also sometimes referred to as the no-name straight. So you either get Paul Newman or no name.
You go when you can, I suppose, here at Lime Rock. But what a classic of a track here. A classic sports car racing venue, one with a lot of rich history in it, as well as a, I say lifelong, but as a longtime member of the Philadelphia region of the SCCA. One of our greats, the late great Al Holbert, ran many a race here, and one of the most infamous clips of him was jumping over the hill here at Lime Rock, a hill that we already negotiated with earlier on this season here, James, but now we've got a different tail, and that is a tail right there. Actually, two tails, in fact. Not only do we have the chicane here on the back end of the racetrack slowing up these drivers, it is going to be a second chicane shortly thereafter, and number three, possibly the biggest hurdle for these drivers. It's classic New England weather, a little bit of rain thrown into the midst. This is going to be fun, at least for us here in the booth.
I think this is going to be an absolute blast. I can tell you from firsthand experience that the SRG League is the people in it love the rain to a point. They love rain races. They were super disappointed that the F3 never got rain for the Advanced League, but in the F4, the iRacing system likes to use. Oh, there's a wreck right there. That's a result of just spinning it out because of that slick tire condition there with Stevie Ray. But the F4 season, a couple seasons ago, even though the rain was unlikely, it rained every single time that it possibly could. And so there was something like 6 races in a row that there was rain until finally the admins had to come in and put a stop to it. So there's a rich history of rain with the Sim Racers Group F4 League.
I'll be 100% honest and give it a little bit of kind of like a breaking the third wall sort of moment with that. I remember that season very vividly because I was usually on standby for a lot of the races during that season, actually producing most of them. And the setup that I have here in my broadcasting area has my PC right around my left-hand leg. I can actually no longer grow hair on the back of my left leg because of how hot it was getting because of those rain races throughout that season. So it has been a little bit since we've got to see these F4s really get tested in the rain, and for a rather new, batch of drivers, it's going to be a bit of a different test here. It's been quite a long time since we saw this series running in conditions like this, and for many of these drivers, it is going to be a trial by fire. But as you said, the community really does love the rain, and I do as well. Back in my karting days, my dad used to call me a mudder, probably because he had to feed me a sugar cube every single day. Let's take a look here at Damian Dietrich heading down the back start-finish stretch into turn number 1. This is when we get off into the tight and twisties. This is where it's really getting technical. This track, despite the fact that it is the only layout here outside of the chicanes, was originally meant to be the short course of what was intended to be a much larger facility that never ended up getting built. There you can see left-hander and right-hander, your two favorite turns in the world right there, James, but it builds the momentum as you head your way into the back end of the racetrack, but that momentum is going to get stomped on like a cockroach in the middle of a busy kitchen, as here we go, the first chicane. That chicane isn't too bad. I would say the jump is sketchier, but you've got those killer curves there on the inside. We're not in the UK, but I'll still call them claymores either way. Now we've got the second chicane, one that is a little bit more befuddling. It hasn't really been used too much here, at least here on SMB. I think I've gotten to cover one or two races that featured it. It is a very obscure chicane, but one that these drivers will have to circumnavigate either way. Despite the rain and despite those two chicanes, these lap times are just barely creeping in at over a minute long. This track, even in its elongated format, is still very short.
Yes, it is a mile and a half. There's a fun story about that as well. So when the track was created in, I believe it was 1957, they didn't know how long it was, and so a guy in a Chevy used the odometer, and he just drove around, and he's like, yeah, it's 1.53, and that became gospel for God knows how long, probably the next 50 years. So that's kind of how they run their racetracks up here in Connecticut. Some of the times coming in are very respectable here. Damien Dietrich with a 101 flat almost. Greg Meyer is significantly slower than that. It's 0.6 slower, and that's where you get the rest of the field coming in there. So Damien Dietrich off to a very fast start here. There's a very important note for tonight, Ron, and that is the conversation about the penalty points. We are going to see one of the championship points leader here when we get to the championship points. You're going to see Henry Ryback up towards the top. But Henry Ryback, if he races tonight, I believe he's out there, although he has not put a time up. He is registered, but he has not put a time up. He will be starting from the pit, as well as Dan Clark. Now, the important math on this is that if you are starting from the pit, that means that you have earned 5 penalty points. If you get in a wreck that's bad enough that it basically ends somebody else's day, or figuratively speaking, since the damage is off, that's worth 4 penalty points. And at 9 penalty points, according to the stewards, even though these things are not disclosed, the math is disclosed, 9 penalty points will lose you 10 championship points. And we have a couple races left in this season, and if you've got championship points leader up, in starting from the pit, you could see hopefully some drivers really, really being careful not to smash it up out there, Ron.
Yeah, no, it is going to be a very sketchy night for many. As speaking of all the permutations and everything that's running through these drivers' heads as we get into this race, it's a good time for us to take a little gander at our championship point standings as we head our way off into this race. A little bit too much WD-40 on it. There we go. Henry Ryback, as you said, the points leader. 7 points the tally, though, so this is when it really gets sketchy. That 10-point penalty, obviously 10 more than 7, even though I didn't really pay too much attention in school, which you can definitely tell based off some of the stuff that comes out of my mouth whenever I'm on the air. Even I know with my public school education that 10 is more than 7, so that would see Damien Dietrich once again retake the points lead. Dietrich there in P2, as I just said. Greg Meyer, a little bit farther back there, is in third, but you look behind him, the fight between himself and Brian Stasinski only covered by 8 points. As you can see, Bob Eggert there with a slide right there in the camera shot. Beautiful comedic timing there. Jacob Guyton in P5 is only 3 back of Stasinski, and then Jose Navas not too far behind there. It's like small little clicks that we have got in the championship points fight here, James. It kind of reminds me of my time in middle school and high school.
Just get your friend group and hold on tight. That's what you're seeing here. It does surprise me, honestly, looking at these points that Stasinski isn't a little bit higher and Jacob Guyton isn't a little bit higher. Ryback, Dietrich, and Meyer really have taken off in the last few weeks. Stasinski has been a very consistent racer, but Guyton at the beginning of the season was really putting up a lot of points and has just kind of fallen off a little bit. I think he missed a race or two and just wasn't on the podium. Woof. You know, you could see out there that the conditions are still pretty dicey. It's a pretty wet track out there, and this is by design. I know that the SRG community with Tyler Hagen and Jason Cotcher, they really wanted to get a good rain race in there because that is one of the features. Oh, I think that's Stevie Ray. That is one of the features of the F4 League. It's got a great tire model. It can handle the rain. You just have to be able to drive it, and it is a really fun challenge out there. This is actually a great course for it, to be totally honest with you, because it's a pretty small and simple course, at least as far as the number of turns. The turns are difficult and technical, but it's a great course, I think, Ron, to just have a good rain night.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It is small enough where if you do have a small little mistake, you're not going to be, letting it stew and fester into your own brain for minutes at a time. You're going to be able to say, okay, look, that happened last lap, but I've got another lap now. Let's try and right the wrongs. It's also a track that has a lot of runoff area here. You mentioned when this track was built back in the 50s. One of the owners, I can't remember the gentleman's name. However, he was Pierre Levay's teammate in the 1955 24 Hours of Le Mans, which unfortunately saw the Le Mans disaster that year, one of the deadliest motor racing accident in the history of motorsports. And because of that tragedy, he decided that in building this track, he wanted to build it to be one of the safest in the world. Now, granted, this was the safest in the world in 1957, which wouldn't even pass for a hill climb here today. However, some of those safety innovations that you see at this track were originally tested here before they ended up moving on to highways. Those massive clear zones there, the grass that slants away from the track pretty much all around this circuit, that was tested here before it became a part of standard highway safety building. Those yellow sand barrels there all around this racetrack before they became a part of highway systems and racetracks all around the world, they were first featured here. This track has a lot to give if these drivers do step over the edge, so I think it is a very good race as well to give these drivers a chance to get a little bit of wet running. Rain racing will make you a better driver if you can master it. That I am sure of. And with the positive attitude that these drivers have, I don't think anybody in this field looked at this rain race and figured, you know what, it's a rain race, I give up, I'm not going to do it. They weren't going to have a negative outlook on this race. I think probably the most negative thing that one of these drivers probably said when they realized this was going to be a rain race was, well, damp.
Solid. I'll give you that one. All right, I'll give you that one. That was a good one.
I'll be here all week, folks. Try the
there
veal.
You go. Try the veal. We look at the fantastic livery there from Ken Estep, the Spider-Man. That is good stuff. He loves that stuff, and it's just a super good look. One of the things that you might see in slow motion broadcasting in the future is a spotter's guide for the Advanced League. This SRG community really loves their liveries, and guys like Enrique Vela have been putting together some fantastic work for the community. So everybody's really excited about that. I like Stasinski's livery as well here, but to the facts at hand here, Damian Dietrich has continued to keep that 101 flat time there very nicely intact, and Greg Meyer has pulled now within, gosh, that's like less than a half a tenth. So what is that? It's 0.093 to 0.138. So we're real close on that. Hunter's a little bit further behind, and then the field starts to really catch up around 4, 5, and 6, all at 101.3s. But it looks like Dietrich is going to be on the pole for this one. We did not see Henry Ryback run a time at all, so I'm not sure if he knows that you can just kind of do a pit start by still qualifying and then going to the pit, but either way he elected not to do that, so hopefully we do see him out there. I don't see Dan Clark either, although he is registered, so you might see Dan Clark out on the track as well. It's gonna be a fun race. This is just a great course for this. This is one of the courses that comes free of charge with iRacing, so many people are familiar with this. It's one of the first courses that anybody really gets out on. So it is well ingrained in people's brains. Although that second chicane, Ron, not so much.
Yeah, no, that first chicane I know is a little bit of a controversial topic whenever it comes to certain racing. I remember one time running a Skip Barber race here, leading by about a half a lap, hit one of those curbs of doom there, the red sausage curbs on the inside, broke my rear suspension with a half a lap left to go, and I did not look at my sim rig the same for about a month afterwards. That second chicane, though, it is very awkward as you head your way through there. It is one that, as I said during my little track guide, isn't really one that gets used a lot. I think it is the only time that has ever been used in an event broadcasted here on Slow Motion Broadcasting history that stretches back now to about 2022. Now, granted, I've only been around for, about half that now, 2024. Golly, time flies when you're having fun, but the point still remains the same either way. That chicane, it's just a little bit strange as you head your way through there. It's oh no, it's a peculiar section of racetrack. It's not like seeing something completely, okay, I've never seen that before in my life. It's just seeing something that you'd usually see be done in an odd way. It's like seeing a neon green smart car driving around your neighborhood. It's not weird that it's a smart car. It's not weird that the car is neon green per se. It's just the fact that it's both merged into one.
It's got a strange run up to it as well, with like the cones, and you're not sure, like, to time that second chicane is very strange. But like, here's an image of the first chicane there, and you can see those red sausage curbs. They are enormous. They might as well be the biggest thing on this small track, because when you hit that, not only is it a massive jolt to an F4, but it's a massive jolt in a really bad spot, because you're going to have another one coming right on top of you, and you're probably going to hit that one as well. And if you get all three, then I think they give you a prize when you come back to the pit with a completely broken car. So it is a tough one. Let's take a look here. I think we probably are ready to go ahead and look at our positions for the start of this race here, as our producer Josh Wilkie working overtime in the truck here. Here we go. On pole position, as we said, is Damian Dietrich. Second will be Greg Meyer on the front row. Stasinski and Hunter are going to be in row 2. Row 3 will be Sarah Vase, and Stevie Ray managed to get up there. Jacob Guyton, the aforementioned Jacob Guyton, is in position 7, and 8 will be Bob Eggert, who has been consistently moving up the field. Newcomer Ben Velton in 9th position. Great qualifying for him. Pranav Ketneni in 10th. Ken Glasser in 11th. Tyler Hagan will be in 12th. Then we have Cy Nathan 13. Rudy Samudio in 14. Ken Estep in 15. Henry Ryback will be starting from the pit, and Dan Clark will also be starting from the pit. So they plan on doing that for this race. It will be very interesting to see how this goes. Again, tough conditions out there. We're going to see. There's really not much excuse for a smash 'em up race. The elite does not want to see that one. Oh, and here we go. We've got 5 lights. We are about ready to go here, and they are off. We are racing in Connecticut. Out to the front here, Greg Meyer looks like he got a fantastic start. Stasinski and Hunter are up there with him as well. Dietrich now in 4th. Meyer's going to come around Stasinski in 1st place there, and it's looking good. Great start for everybody here, and very clean. Don't see the big wreck, but Meyer, what a great start with Meyer and Stasinski. I don't know what happened to Damian Dietrich, Ron. Where did he go? Oh, and there's a wreck in the back there, unfortunately. It looks like it's Hagen and Ben Velton, unfortunately, Ron.
Oh, and I think I know why. I'm seeing that those drivers started this race on dry tires. That could be the reason why they probably lost control. Let's take a look at the replay here. We follow this from Greg Meyer's perspective, and this fantastic start there right off the line. The problem that Dietrich had was he was stuck on the wet side of the racetrack, the wet and dirty side of this racetrack there as well. So unfortunately for him, he's going to stall out big time. I got to say, though, one other driver that's experimenting on slicks is Brian Stasinski. From everything I'm seeing, he's holding on to P2. However, Matthew Hunter now applying the pressure on, laying it as heavy as a tungsten blanket into turn number 1. One wonder if we can maybe pull up the tire compound graphic here. Perfect. Thank
There
you
we
very much,
go.
Mr. Wilkie. That shows you that Stasinski, he's doing everything he can there to hold on to P2, but that has got to be like wrestling a monkey in a phone booth.
Stasinski might be onto something here, though. The track is drying out, and being on those dry tires could be a major advantage here. But man, if he catches a puddle, it is over for him. You can still see the trail of mist coming off from behind Meyer here, but I'm impressed. First of all, like that's a very good job. It'd be interesting to see when we get a chance to take a look at the start from Damian Dietrich's standpoint. I think you might be onto something, Ron, that he might have just started in a puddle and just could not get traction, because you saw Meyer take that hole shot, just blew by him like he was standing still, because he literally was. So we're gonna take a look at the start here with Damian Dietrich. This should be on board with Dietrich here, or at least looking at him. No, the track looks pretty dry. Let's see what happens when he gets off the line here. Yeah, a little bit of a spin there. Just you can see the front of the car move to the left unintentionally there, so he did not get that grip that he was looking for, and Meyer did.
Oh, no.
This is not good, Ron.
Oh, and this is even worse for Brian Stasinski. Oh, that is the kiss of death right now. As Eric can see it, heading his way all through the chicane. The rain is coming down.
Done.
He's already skidding around the racetrack like an irate cat. There's the slowdown penalty. Gets it served promptly. That's one benefit about rain racing. You can serve a slowdown, not even breaking a sweat. You can do it just fine. Now, I will say the wonderful graphics that we have here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, it sometimes appears a little bit darker in sim on the broadcast than it does for some others. Right now, we're only about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It definitely looks a little bit later on than that. However, this rain is coming down. This track is slowly but surely being enveloped. I will keep an eye on it. iRacing is currently marking the track with their in-sim weather as being very likely wet. However, the bad news is we're at the start of a very, very thin rain band that will likely run us throughout most of this mid-portion of the race. The wind is howling at 11 miles an hour, so that is a benefit. It may blow through rather quickly, but what damage will be done to this racing surface as that rain is with us?
Yeah, I think that it's going to do enough damage to take Stasinski and put him into a rough spot. There he goes. Okay, Stasinski is out. Stasinski is dropping 8th, 9th, probably will end up 10th. We're going to look at a replay here, and I'm sure it is just a spin self-inflicted because, it's just that's that second chicane just impossible to hold on as the conditions continue to get wetter and wetter. If I was Stasinski, I'd put it into the pit right now, change those tires out. I think that's exactly what he's doing. It's just too early in this race to drive around with dry tires, and someone might have to teach newcomer Ben Velton how to do the same, or he's going to think that his car is broken. Tyler Hagen should know better. Not sure what he's doing out there in dry tires. If you look, though, we have Henry Ryback, who has moved his way up to 8th place. We saw some close racing out there. Jacob Guyton and Sarah Bays were right on it there. This is, we're looking at Ryback here. We're going to take a bit of a rewind here when we get a chance and look at some of Ryback's work here, Ron. It looks like he's definitely got the pace, I would say.
Yeah, may have had the pace, certainly has a little bit of luck. Again, the move done there on Ken Estep, heading his way off through the West Bend chicane, and was still on the charge, getting moves done right here, right now, trying to find any way in the book to get past. Ryback, the Swede in this 111 car, again, very close there as he headed his way off through the final turn. Yeah, I gotta say, whenever I see a driver representing the Nordic countries, whether they live there or not, I always keep my eye on them. James May on top here did a fantastic piece about how the Finnish drivers always have that extra little special touch behind the wheel of a motor vehicle. And I guess they can stretch into the Swedes as well. It is the same part of the world, for crying out loud.
You get a little Nordic influence, I guess, here as we're watching like what appears to be the highlight reel of Henry Ryback as he's approaching Stevie Ray here. The conditions are like, it's wet. There's just no two ways about it at this point. This is rainy. The puddles are building. The cars are Stevie Ray's trying to keep grip on here. At this point, you are just really trying to keep those revs as low as you can. I would say you're probably short shifting as much as you can. High revolutions in a race like this is just going to kind of be death on the corners. But we're going to see here, honestly, like as far as the driving goes, these drivers have really held on quite well, I would say, as you look at Ryback still trying to get around Stevie Ray.
Yeah, that they certainly have. These drivers have coped with the challenge of this race brilliantly as Stevie Ray gets very sideways as he heads his way out of turn number 4. That could have ended in tears. It does end in a swap of spots as Henry Ryback once again being able to get a move done there. And that's no cap. All
right.
Boy.
I gave you the first one. I don't know about that one, though.
I'm Gen Z, and I felt old saying that. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. We're going to swiftly and abruptly move on. Greg Meyer is your race leader, 5.2 seconds in front of Matthew Hunter. If anybody has been able to take to this track like a duck to water, no pun intended, it's a Taco Bell machine. There
it is. There, give the people what they want, right? So Greg Meyer has just put together a very clean race here. He doesn't have to worry about anybody near him at this point. He really it's Greg Meyer versus the rain, right? He's got 5.2 seconds to Matthew Hunter. So it's up to him to race cleanly here. But man, he is making it look good. The chat says, "How do you do, fellow kids?" That's pretty much how I feel listening to Ron drop a no cap. I had to get out my small, Generation X to Gen Z dictionary on that one. Damian Dietrich has managed to come pretty close to Matthew Hunter here, so he's managed to get back into third. Jacob Guyton continues to be in the conversation. The middle of the field is close up until Stevie Ray has 10 seconds between him and Ken Glasser. So there's a fair amount of separation later on, but Bob Eggert continues to be in the conversation, and now he's going to be trying to defend from Henry Ryback as we go on board with Henry, who is just going to send it right into the inside of that thing. Oof. Man, he is being very aggressive. Do you think that Henry Ryback can hold on to this thing for the last 12 minutes of this race, Ron?
Well, I'll tell you what, he's got the confidence right now, and this is a track that can reward drivers who feel confident. However, these aren't exactly conditions that will let somebody be too confident. He gets another move done here on Sarah Vase, still side by side, heading into the uphill chicane at the back end of the racetrack. Finally gets a move done to jump his way up in a P5. I think Ryback is starting to feel very, very happy about these conditions. He's going stride to stride, really making it work. He's shuffling that car around quite well. And after starting this race from the back of the pack, to even claim a top 5 out of this would be an impressive fight back through the field, especially so considering Damian Dietrich is only running in third right now. And who knows, with about half of this race still left to go, cannot rule out the possibility of Ryback once again mounting a charge. However, Sarah Vase is going to be charging on him, gets a move done around the outside, heading into turn number 1. Wasn't expecting that. That was brilliant stuff. Ryback fighting back, though. Contact made as they head their way through the second part of that section, and Vase going to once again jump his way back up into P5, but I'm still liking what I'm seeing here from Ryback. He just cannot bite off a little bit too much that he can chew, as unfortunately Sarah Vase not able to yield that warning right as I gave it in live time.
Yeah, I could tell you, I was going to interrupt you and tell you that one of those two is going to go off the track here. Sarah Vase, I think, was seeing red there, and he has, in racing, maybe just a little bit of a history of that, where when he gets side by side with a car, he becomes very, very aggressive with the wheel. And that was what we kind of saw there. Was you saw Ryback go around him, and Vase was like, I don't think so. And so Vase really put it down, and unfortunately just lost it here, as you'll see. Makes a move around the outside. I believe this is turn 1 here, and just you see Ryback brake. Oh, holy cow. Was that Bob Eggert behind him? Ryback broke right into Bob Eggert. Sarah Vase goes around the outside. Ryback kind of squeezes him a little bit, but just can't keep onto it. I believe this is the corner where he goes off there. Just too much speed in that one, and couldn't keep it on the track, and you're on the grass, and there you go, and Bob's going to go past him as well. So kind of tough there, but I think that you're going to see these guys come back. Something to note here: Brian Stasinski put up a 1 minute 0.7, which is, I think, 4/10 faster than anybody else on this track right now. That's significant. So Brian Stasinski in 11th is putting up crazy fast time, but has just the whole race ahead of him to try to catch these guys. Yeah, we're looking at a bit of a replay here, but just kind of tough there. Just missed the spot where where Bob Baker got unfortunately brake checked. Is 11th place too far back? There's an 18-second gap when you get to Ketaneni. Can Stasinski come back in this thing?
I fear that it may be a little bit too much to try and bite off here. We're already 12 minutes into this 20-minute long race, and as much as he is making massive inroads, I don't see it happening, if I am honest. Ken Glasser, I believe, briefly had a blink at. That could be a way for him to gain another spot, because he is setting very, very good lap times right now. Last time around, as we see trouble here, heading off. Hey! Oh, my goodness, beside Nathan, nearly plowing into the side of the Sue-car incident. Ben Velton there in the 33, and Ken Estep involved in this as well. We'll take a look at Velton heading his way through this section right now, trying to go for it around the outside, and unfortunately contact being made. That's a real tricky turn number 4 here, the right-hander, because it falls away from you as you run farther wide, and especially with that outside wall there sticking out a little bit, having to avoid the natural stream on the other side of that Armco barrier heading down the Paul Newman straightaway. Yeah, it is that if there's any part of this racetrack that's basically like a killer whale, it's turn number 4.
Yeah, man, that was just tough. I almost want to see that again, but we don't have to belabor it. It did look a little bit odd as far as the way that his back end snapped like that. For those of you that are just tuning in, Stasinski started on dry tires for this race, and the conditions looked like they might make him a genius, and instead made him a clown, which was just tragic. Hard to say sometimes. iRacing does some strange things with the garage as far as like putting your tires on. I know that it does like to default to the dry tires, so it's possible that Stasinski just didn't know, or it's possible that he took a gamble. If he did take a gamble, it did not pay off for him, which is really unfortunate. This has been some tough racing up there for Ben Velton, E-Steps having a tough time, and it looks like Stevie Ray also having a tough time out there. The top of the field's not doing much better, but like Stevie Ray just catching some puddles, unable to make that corner. Made it into the runoff area though, like you were saying with the highway safety. And like I said, there's Matthew Hunter at the close to the top of the field there in second place, just completely misses the turn there, takes the off ramp, and like the top of the field is not immune to catching these puddles. It is difficult driving for everybody all over the place.
Yeah, that's going to allow Damian Dietrich to not only take second place, but comfortably so as well. Hunter's still trying to serve that slowdown as he heads his way through the final turn. This could end in tears if he can't get this taken care of, because a black flag, that is a race ender here in this event. Still waiting to see that yellow flag disappear. It is a massive slowdown whenever you do cut the course through there, so keep an eye on that. As Stasinski getting a move done on Pranay Ketaneni heading down in there. Wow. I was wondering whether Stasinski could fight back, and as much as he still has 27 seconds between himself and the next car, he was able to clean up and get a couple of overtakes done. Here it was on Ketaneni, getting out of turn number 4, heading down into the chicane, and just a battle last late breakers, and able to fight his way back there. Gotta wonder how things would have gone for Stasinski had he started this race on wet tires. Of course, made that gamble to start on slicks. Whether that was intentional or not, we'll let the racing gods decide. But either way, Slice it had to come down pit lane once the rain started, but has put on a rousing effort to fight back. Last time around, even with that side-by-side racing between himself and Ketaneni, he was in the 105.1s, which was pretty far up there in terms of the lap times, quicker than every single car behind him. The only downside is that it was slower than every single car in front, which is part of the reason why there's that massive wedge drawn between this field.
Yeah, it's a significant amount. Stasinski he's 27 seconds behind Cervez. So it's unfortunate that that's not really in the realm of possible at this point. It looks like King Glasser might have had an accident there. There's just a little bit of everything going on here. Here we're looking at Glasser, who is just behind Ketneni, I believe, right there. And yep, that turn is not optional. Oh, there's a car in front of him that's going. Oh my goodness, he put it in reverse on the on the corner there on the apex. Not sure if reversing on the apex is ideal for anybody there, but I think he managed to avoid a calamity, which surely would have gotten the ire of the stewards. But man, there's just all sorts of chaos going off here. Henry Ryback now in 5th place with a pit start has managed to work his way back up to 5th place. Very aggressive driving, but has managed to hold on to it in all the important parts here. He's now chasing down, he's being chased by Bob Eggert. And of course, Sarah Bass has probably still got a bone to pick with him, I would say, Ron.
Yeah, so there's still a little bit left to be decided in this 3-car squabble. These drivers looking to end off this race with quite the good time. And I gotta say, looking to end off this season on quite the good note as well. After this round of the championship here tonight, we're only going to have one more race left. That at Laguna Seca in 1 week's time. Laguna, what a fantastic racetrack that's now behind a paywall because I guess too many people around there who are upset about race cars making noise around a racetrack are suing the speedway. Gotta love it.
Really? I did not know that. That's a fun fact, and also a tragic fact. We're getting right down to it here, and I think we're going to have to look at the leaders here because Greg Meyer, who is winning this race, is now only 0.8 seconds ahead of 2nd place. So that insurmountable lead is been whittled down to almost nothing. So I'm not entirely sure what happened to Meyer, if he just ran a few slow laps or got caught by some traffic ahead of him, or not sure what's going on there. But Meyer is now being hawked by Damien Dietrich, and it looks like Stasinski has crashed, which is unfortunate for him, especially given how well he was doing here. We'll take a quick look at this, and then we'll get back to the leaders here. Yeah, the puddles are getting enormous on this thing. It looks like Jacob Guyton has now crashed as well. Oh, goodness. We are 19 minutes into this thing. Ron, I'll let you talk for about 30 seconds, and then I think I'm going to have to call the end of this thing.
Yeah, so right now getting to the end of this race, and unfortunate to see that incident for Stasinski, but he has put together an incredible drive either way. P8 may not be the result that he had in mind, but it is still a Viking effort in what has been a very tough race for many drivers throughout the pack. But up at the front, we've still got a close Meyer looking to hold on for dear life. Damien Dietrich sliding a little bit. This could result in a little battle as we head our way into the chicane for the final time. Dietrich chasing the tail of Meyer and chasing him off the track.
Meyer is off. Dietrich goes around. Meyer goes off the track. Oh my goodness, Ron. That might be it here. If Dietrich can make it around the rest of this thing cleanly here as they go through the 2nd chicane, I think that they are going to be done here. And Meyer losing it on the last half of the entire race here. Dietrich does get around, and he's got a straight, and this is going to be a win for Damien Dietrich. Greg Meyer in 2nd place. Looks like Hunter's going to be in 3rd, then a big gap to Guyton. Ron, did you see that one coming?
Well, that I did not, I'll be honest, and my goodness me, I'll tell you what, it is so easy to get into the mind of your competition. It's like at Sarah Bass right there behind, held on to it in that hop, skip, and a jump through the grass there at the very end, not going to lose out on any positions with a 38-second buffer between himself and Brian Stasinski. But it is so easy to get into the head of your competition, especially here in the rain. There is no room for error, absolutely none, with all the standing water, with everything that these drivers have to worry about. When you have a rain race, if you get into your competitor's head just a little bit, the consequences are going to be dire. And unfortunately there, It was in the part of the racetrack that's probably the most heavily packed with standing water. So as soon as Meyer saw Damian Dietrich with the wheel down the inside, it was already too little too late. He was also trying to cover it off down there on the bottom with a very shallow approach. You cannot get away with that there. The track bottlenecks so much as you head your way in there, as Stasinski, I believe, may have found the Jersey barriers there at the end. I said this on a broadcast about 24 hours ago. I'll say it once again here. Jersey barriers were designed in Jersey and named after him for a good reason. If they're in Jersey, they are meant to be hit.
I think we might have to take another look at that final run there with Damian Dietrich and Greg Meyer, because Damian Dietrich pulls off just an absolutely tremendous mind punt here, where Dietrich ends up going to the inside on this thing. Meyer, this is it right there. As soon as Dietrich goes to the inside, Meyer just maybe takes a look in his rearview mirror and just doesn't get on the brakes fast enough for that, thinking that Dietrich might just jam it down the inside. Dietrich did not. He left him room and braked at the appropriate time, but Meyer just lost it. It was a great move, honestly, by Dietrich to just fake to go to the inside like that and distract Meyer. Like you said, getting into the mind of your competitor. That was a super tough break for Meyer, but a great move as well by Dietrich. So you look at our race results here. Just a great race in the rain, honest to God. Like it was really, really good stuff out there. So we have oh, there's a false start. Sorry. Sometimes you don't notice these things until they happen, but that was undoubtedly a false start there. Here's our final results here. Damian Dietrich, the winner. Greg Meyer in second. Matthew Hunter managed to hold on to third. Jacob Guyton works his way up to fourth, but the real hard charger here, Henry Ryback, started from the pit, made it all the way to fifth place, which will be some good points for him, and I don't believe caused the death of anybody else, so manages to maybe hold off some of those penalty points, which were becoming a bit of an issue. Bob Eggert in sixth place, Sarah Vase in seventh, Stasinski in eighth, Pranay Ketneni in ninth. Stasinski in eighth is actually pretty impressive given that he had to do a full pit with the dry tires. Ken Glasser 10th, Rudy Smudio 11. Ben Velton worked his way back up. He also did dry tires. He was in 12th. Cy Nathan 13. Ken Estep 14. Stevie Ray was in 15 after a tough night. Tyler Hagan in 16, and I'm not entirely sure Dan Clark started. He's 19 laps back, so I don't think he did take the start there. And it looks like Tyler Hagan retired it pretty early as well. Ron, great race out there. Was it what you were expecting out of a rain race with these F4s?
You know, I will say it was a lot more action-packed than I was expecting. I was expecting these drivers also run into a lot more difficulties throughout this race, especially once that rain started to fall late. And now I would be lying to all of you if I said that these drivers were, you know, having a fully easy time and it was a nice little Tuesday night cruise. That's certainly not the case, but those drivers held it very, very well. I'll be 100% honest, folks, and you know, this is really saying something coming from me, considering I've probably done about 1,400 broadcasts over the past 3.5 years. These drivers here tonight were able to handle rain racing better than some pros I've gotten the opportunity to cover, and even those on the iRacing channel. I remember doing the Bathurst 12 on the iRacing channel back in 2025. And if I had $1 for every single time that I saw somebody complaining about the rain in the YouTube chat, I'd probably make more money from that than I did from that entire show.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive, honestly. Most of the race was pretty good. We did start to see about halfway through some people get a little squirrely. We've got some drivers waiting for us though in the driver waiting room, and I think we're gonna have to call in our race winner here with Damian Dietrich. So let's grab him and talk to Damian Dietrich here. Damian Dietrich, what an impressive race out of you. And we have to ask the question, when you went onto the inside of Meyer, was that a mind punt there? Were you attempting to get in his head to see if he'd missed the brake zone?
Yeah, I had no intention to pass him. I was just like, I'm going to the inside. He might stay outside, and it's like wet and it's so slippery here. So it's like, if he messes up, he messes up. Otherwise, I have a good braking point. I'm okay. And yeah, it happened.
Yeah, we're watching it on the replay here, and it was a beautiful move. And to be honest, like, yes, you did have the inside non-favored line as far as like the speed goes, but by going to the inside, forcing him to check up and miss the brake zone, you were able to handle the turn just fine and then accelerate out of it. So it was a very impressive race. How did you find the conditions? Did the conditions bother you a lot? You had a tough start.
Oh yeah. I was practicing the start a bit, but I totally overdid it. Like, I think it's like all or nothing. Like, either you have wheel spin or your engine just stalls. And I was just a bit above, and yeah, it just happened. Yeah. But it worked out.
The wheel spin at the beginning, even though it was not a very big wheel spin, it cost you some positions immediately. Yeah. Everybody else had a very good start, but you raced a very solid race. What was the other than the start there? How did you find the other corners? Were the chicanes what you expected out of them?
So what I did is I practiced in like different like moistures, track moistures. So I kind of knew what I was going into. What I really find very difficult is changing conditions. You know, you have your lines, you expect something, and then it isn't there anymore. For example, the one where I got Brian, if there's a puddle in the right apex, you can't go there. But it gives you so much time if you go there if there's not a big puddle.
Fair enough. Well, all in all, very impressive race out of you. I was very impressed, and I think we all were. Is there anybody you want to thank or give a shout out to your sponsors tonight?
I wish I had sponsors. So I read a lot about like the future and how you should approach the future. And apparently it's very good for your psychology if you approach it in a very positive manner. So, hey, future sponsors, here I am. Get me.
There you go. I love it. Well, there's our race winner, Damian Dietrich, and I'm sure they're going to be lining up outside your trailer tonight as you're ready to pack up and go home. So congratulations and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Ron, it's dealer's choice now.
Yeah, that it is. I'm looking right now here in the booth, and I will have a quick little chat with men who put in a fairly under-the-radar performance here in this event, that being Matthew Hunter. It's been a little while since we got the opportunity to have a chat with him. Had some scary moments throughout this race. Matthew Hunter now joining us here in the broadcast booth. Matthew, welcome in. I just said a few moments ago that through all of that, I feel like you had a fairly quiet race here at Lime Rock, which for a rain race is usually quite an achievement in and of itself. How did you find this race here at Lime Rock?
At the beginning, I wasn't that comfortable since it's obviously a rain race, but seeing that I qualified pretty well and had some pace, started getting a little more comfortable in the middle.
And so it worked out pretty all right for you here in this event. You end up walking away with the podium. How did you find this this rain race here in terms of the actual track conditions themselves? Started off with a slightly damp racetrack, then had that small little thin band of rain come in the mid portion. So moderately damp throughout most of the event, just enough to keep you drivers out there on their toes.
Yeah, in the middle of the race, I really struggled with my pace. And Damian overtook me and went in for the win. Sadly, I couldn't. I thought it was like a P2, but then just pace went away.
Yeah, but certainly still a good performance for you either way. One of quite a few that you've had throughout this season here, Matthew. How would you summarize how this season has played out for you here as we head our way off into the season finale next week?
Some ups, some downs, but it's never over till it's over.
Amen. It won't be over until the next race of the season at Laguna Seca in 1 week's time. Bit of a homecoming for the Sim Racers Group world. What are your thoughts heading there?
I'm not really gonna be there, sadly. So, but I wish luck to Damien and everyone competing next week.
Yeah, well, we will certainly see you out there on the racetrack at some point rather soon here, I hope, here in the Sim Races Group world, even if it isn't the season finale next time out. Matthew, thank you for joining us here in the broadcast booth. And before we let you go, we'll let you give any thank yous or shout outs of your own.
Shout out to Jason and everyone in the race for staying clean. And yeah, thank you.
And thank you very much for joining us here, man. Congratulations on the podium, and we will hope to see you out there on the racetrack at some point very, very soon.
Thank you.
And that right there was Matthew Hunter, P3 finisher. James, I will pass the mic off to you.
Matthew Hunter, a man of few words. We'll pull in Brian Stasinski here. I'm sure that Brian has a thing or two to say. Brian Stasinski, the question of the day is, did you intend to start on dry tires? Was that a strategic move, or was that something that you're going to yell at your pit crew chief?
I would have yelled either way. I mean, I was sitting on the waiting to go on the grid, looking like, man, this is a dry track, and I was looking at the radar and like, we got a little bit. I can get the tires warm. And I went back and I switched back and forth 3 times. And then the 4th time I was like, no, everybody else is on wet. Don't be the one idiot. And there's like 15 seconds left. And I got out and I was like, well, I'm probably going to miss the start for doing this. So let's just go. Let's roll the dice here. So my strategy was, if it's a dry track and I get the tires hot, and the rain comes through and it's just a little drizzle, maybe for like 4 laps, I can get through that and I'll be fine. And that's not how it worked. So at the end of the day, this is going to be replacing a drop week for me. So I came out of the pits when I got my smart tires on, and I was 15th and I got up to 8th. So I'll take it and realize I'm an idiot, but YOLO.
Honest to God, you put up the fastest time out there on the track with a 1 minute 0.77. So we were wondering whether or not you had it in you. It was difficult out there, even with fast times on the wet tires, for you to be able to claw back. There was a significant gap in the middle of the field to the front runners. But you weren't the only one that came out there on dry tires. I believe that Ben Velton and Tyler Hagan also came out on dry tires. And we thought, this might be a genius move, but unfortunately the clouds opened up and that was pretty much the end of your story. You just simply couldn't hold on to it. What area of this track do you think was something that you really were able to put that kind of time on the other drivers?
On the dry tires everywhere. I mean, you had to be careful in the last turn. You had to be careful in all of them. It just the exits of them, just go easy on it. But once they became hot, and you were seeing what the other cars were doing, you could still take it easy. And I didn't get to the point where I was the first one through the corner, so it's kind of cheating. Like, I just drive a little easier into the corner than the guy in front of me. I probably would have embarrassed myself in front anyway, so it is what it is. If it got drier and drier, then it would have been full go. But I thought I think going into the last little bit of chicane there, the right left before the bridge and the downhill, that was probably the trickiest in the wets, getting it slowed down and then getting it to turn.
Yeah, the rotation looked like it was definitely a challenge for a lot of people. Honestly, the first chicane seemed to give people the most fits. You saw people blow the blow the brake zone almost entirely and go into the runoff. There was maybe a half dozen people that ended up doing that. You had some good battles.
They needed
out
more
there
tread
with,
on their tires.
I don't know how much more tread they can put on those tires. You had some good battles out there with Sarah Vase. Do you remember much of that fighting in the race?
Yeah, and I had an awesome, probably like 20-mile battle with him last week. So I love running with him. He's a fantastic driver. Did I catch up to him? I thought he was way ahead of me.
Was it Sarah Vase? I'll have to ask my producer, but there was some good fightings in the middle of the pack there. We think it was with Vase. It was after you ended up putting on the wet tires and had to sort of work your way back up. But there was a lot of good fights in the middle there.
Yeah, no, he was 25 seconds ahead of me. I never saw him.
Ah,
But yeah, yeah. Maybe other blue-green car.
could be. Did you feel like you had any good fights out there with some of the other drivers?
I did because I kind of had a little bit of red mist, and I was trying to control that. Like, I need to get up. I need to pass as many cars as possible to salvage whatever points. So I think the battle was more in my head of just take it easy, don't be stupid. Trying not to wreck myself and the cars I was trying to get through.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a tough break, and it did send you to the pits. We suggested like he's just got to go to the pits at this point, and at the point where
that was
Sorry,
battle
go ahead.
number 1, because I think it was at the end of the track and I could easily go in, and part of me was like, no, let's play it out. The rain's probably going to stop in a half a lap and then I'll be mad at myself. It's like, you've already screwed your race. Just salvage what you can. No, go out. Come on, do it. So I the smarter part of me went in the pits and changed, but that was almost even stupider.
Well, I think that going to the pits was the right move. I don't think you would have. I think you would have slowly just worked your way backwards down the field and eventually
absolutely.
wrecked somebody, starting with yourself. But hey, thank you very much for joining us. And is there anybody that you want to thank or give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, I mean, thank you everybody in SRG. I'll get to SMP later. SRG, they're just wonderful people here. I love racing with all of them. It's so fun. It's well managed. The car's great. I love everything about it. And then SMB for their wonderful coverage. It's always great. I'm going back into the garage to hack apart a golf cart and watch it on the big screen so I can see the front cars, since I didn't get to see that race. So,
Well, thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate it every time. So have a great night, Mr. Statinsky.
you too. Thanks.
All right, Ron, what'd you think of tonight's race?
I was pleasantly surprised with it all in all. I was surprised by the amount of action that we had. It's the Sim Racers Group World. I was expected to be quite the show, but even then, I was expecting this race to maybe be a little bit more tempered as these drivers tried to get a grip to the rain, but it was really good. It was surprisingly clean as well. The series continues to impress, and really looking forward to rounding off this season of the F4s. The final season of the F3s only have 2 more races left to go in them, and you'll be able to catch that action here on Slow Motion Broadcasting here very, very soon. So speaking of which, I think we'll take a quick little gander at those upcoming shows here on the channel. Of course, as I just said, the second to last race ever of the Sim Racers Group F3 Championship will be at Barber Motorsports Park this upcoming Wednesday. Yeah, tomorrow, Ron. That'll be at Barber Motorsports Park, Mr. Charles Bochel's favorite track in the world. And look, he's actually filming a little something special that we'll see here soon on the SMB channel. They're at Barber in real life this weekend. The Rick Matek GT3 Championship will be at Long Beach for the latest round of their championship, round number 4, marking the end of the first half of that inaugural season of that series. The Ray Esports Summer Shootout Series will round off the penultimate race of their season at Brands Hatch this upcoming Sunday. The American Muscle Series will be back on the channel at Barber Motorsports Park. The SRG F4 Championship will round off their season at Laguna Seca in 1 week's time. And then after that, to round off the F3 season, we've also got another one of our SMB doubleheaders as the SKR Sim Racing Championship will return for season number 2 here on SMB. That'll be at Willow Springs with GT3 cars, and of course, the final race for the F3's Maunz. Interestingly enough, the first ever race for the SRG F3 Championship, I remember it because it was the first ever race that I produced live, was at Imola about a year and some change ago. So rounding off the series in the same nation that we started in, a lot of action to look forward to here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. And that graphic doesn't really tell the full story, because coming up in a couple of weeks' time, we've got ourselves the special 50th V Runoffs Big Grid event. That'll be 2 days from September the 12th through to the 13th. A lot of fun to have. Of course, this past season has seen the Summer Shootout Series use the MX-5s, the Formula Vs, the Formula Fords, and the Spec Racer Fords. So they're all going to make their triumphant appearance out there on track for that. But James, this was a very, very fun race, but looking forward to rounding it off in style. As I said, it's the SRG homecoming. That'll be at Laguna Seca in 1 week's time. That's going to be an absolute hoot.
Yes, Sim Racers Group based in San Jose, California. So Laguna Seca is definitely near and dear to their heart, I would have to say. I will be looking forward to taking part at Barber tomorrow with the F3s. That is also one of my all-time favorite tracks. But tonight was a fantastic show. Great racing out of the Sim Racers Group. Exactly what everybody was looking forward to with a rain race. A lot of drivers managed to pull out some pretty impressive car handling out there despite the absolutely treacherous conditions, and really, all in all, some fantastic performances. So thank you very much to all of you who joined us. This has been Slow Motion Broadcasting's production of the Sim Racers Group F4 League. On behalf of my colleague, Ron Maunz, and producer Josh Wilkie in the truck, I'm James McDonald, wishing you happy hairpins and clear straights.